The arrival. The stars shimmered like scattered diamonds across the vast darkness of space. Daniel, a 32-year-old earthling with a sharp wit and a knack for survival, sat nervously in the observation deck of the massive alien ship. The intergalactic summit of peace was no ordinary event. It was the first time in history that a human was invited, and Daniel was that human. He wasn't a soldier or a scientist. He wasn't even a diplomat. Daniel was just Daniel, a logistics officer on Earth. He had been chosen because of his unshakable calm in chaotic situations. "You'll represent humanity," they told him. No pressure. But sitting aboard this colossal ship surrounded by beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors, he felt very small. As the alien vessel approached Zelon Prime, a planet famed for hosting these summits, Daniel marveled at its beauty. Massive rings of glowing green gas encircled the planet, and cities floated in the atmosphere like luminous islands. The aliens around him spoke in a mix of languages, their voices creating a strange melody of clicks, hums, and tones. Daniel's translator device struggled to keep up. A tall, slender being with shimmering silver skin approached him. Her name was Kiveri, a Zelana, one of the hosts of the summit. Her glowing blue eyes studied him with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Human," she said in a voice as smooth as silk, "welcome to Zelon Prime. I hope your stay will be enlightening." Daniel nodded, unsure how to respond. "Thank you, Kiveri. I'll do my best to represent Earth well." Her lips curved into a small, unreadable smile. "We shall see." The grand banquet hall of the Zelonian palace was unlike anything Daniel had ever imagined. It was a vast, dome-shaped room with walls that seemed to pulse with light, as if the building itself were alive. Hundreds of delegates from across the galaxy filled the space, each more bizarre than the last. A group of reptilian beings hissed quietly in one corner, while a cluster of floating jellyfish-like creatures hovered near the ceiling. Daniel tried to blend in, but it was impossible. Every alien eye, or equivalent organ, seemed to turn toward him. Whispers followed him wherever he went. "Is that the human? I didn't think they were so fragile-looking. How can someone so primitive be here?" He straightened his posture and forced himself to walk confidently. He was here for humanity, after all. He couldn't let them see his nerves. At the center of the room was a long table laden with foods and drinks that glowed, steamed, or emitted faint musical notes. Daniel hesitated, unsure what was safe to eat. Kiveri appeared at his side, holding a crystal goblet filled with a shimmering golden liquid. "This," she said, "is the Elixir of Unity. It is a symbol of peace and strength among my people. Only the bravest and most worthy are offered a taste." Daniel blinked at her. "And you're offering it to me?" Kiveri's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. "Consider it a test, human. Many have tried it. Few have succeeded." The room grew silent. Every being in the hall was watching now. The whispers stopped. Daniel felt the weight of their gazes pressing down on him. He looked at the elixir. It shimmered like liquid sunlight, beautiful but intimidating. His instincts screamed at him to refuse, to avoid becoming a spectacle. But then he thought about why he was here. He wasn't just representing himself. He was representing Earth. If he backed down now, it would confirm every alien's suspicion that humans were weak and unworthy. With a deep breath, Daniel took the goblet. He raised it to his lips, the golden liquid catching the light as he tipped it back. The taste was indescribable, sweet and bitter, warm and cold, like 1,000 flavors colliding at once. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the world exploded. A surge of energy shot through Daniel's body, and he stumbled, clutching the table for support. His vision blurred, and his skin felt like it was burning and freezing at the same time. Gasps filled the room. The Zelana women, all 100 of them present at the summit, rose to their feet, their glowing eyes wide with shock. Kiveri stepped back, her expression unreadable. "Impossible," she whispered. "He survived." Daniel straightened, his heart pounding. The room spun, but he forced himself to stay upright. What's happening? The Zaylana women began whispering in their language, their voices urgent and filled with awe. Daniel's translator device struggled to keep up, spitting out fragmented phrases. Chosen one, rare bond, impossible reaction. Kivari turned to him, her face pale. The elixir was meant to test your worthiness. It should have destroyed you, but instead, it has bonded with you. Bonded, Daniel repeated, his voice shaky. What does that mean? Before Kivari could answer, a deep, resonant voice boomed from the far end of the hall. It belonged to an imposing figure clad in gleaming armor. It means, the figure said, striding toward Daniel, that you have become something none of us expected. And now, human, your true test begins. The room erupted into chaos. Delegates argued, shouted, and pointed at Daniel. The Zaylana women, however, remained silent, their eyes locked on him with a mixture of awe and fear. Daniel stood frozen, his mind racing. What had he just gotten himself into? The reaction. The silence in the banquet hall was deafening. Hundreds of alien eyes stared at Daniel, and for a moment, it felt like the entire galaxy had frozen. The golden elixir he'd swallowed still tingled on his tongue, its strange warmth coursing through his veins. He tried to act casual, but his body felt different, lighter, sharper, almost humming with energy. Before he could say anything, the reaction began. The 100 Zaylana women present gasped in unison, their glowing blue eyes widening as if they were seeing something incredible or impossible. One by one, they rose from their seats, their elegant silver robes shimmering as they moved. Their whispers weren't in any language his translator could process, but he could feel the intensity of their words, as though they were etched into the air itself. "What's going on?" Daniel murmured, his voice shaky. Kivari, the Zaylana leader, didn't answer right away. Her gaze was fixed on him, her usual calm replaced with something he hadn't seen before. Fear. Slowly, she stepped forward, placing a hand on her chest as if to steady herself. "This should not have happened," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The elixir, it reacts only to the purest and strongest of our kind. For you, a human, to trigger it." Her words trailed off, but her expression said enough. This wasn't just unusual, it was unprecedented. Daniel's heart pounded. "I didn't do anything special. I just drank it." Kivari shook her head, her silvery hair catching the soft glow of the hall's lights. "The elixir does not bond by chance. It chooses." She glanced around at the other Zaylana women, who now stood in a loose circle around him, their eyes never leaving his face. "And it has chosen you." Before Daniel could respond, a low, resonant hum filled the air. It wasn't coming from the room. It was coming from him. He looked down at his hands, which were now faintly glowing with the same golden hue as the elixir. The energy he'd felt earlier was growing, building, as if it were alive. "What is this?" he asked, his voice rising with panic. Kivari's eyes narrowed, her tone sharp. "Control yourself, human. If you let the energy overwhelm you, it will consume you." Daniel clenched his fists, forcing himself to breathe deeply. The glow dimmed slightly, but the hum remained, a constant reminder that something inside him had changed. The other alien delegates began murmuring amongst themselves, their words filled with disbelief and suspicion. "This is impossible," a reptilian creature hissed, its scales rippling with agitation. "A mere human cannot handle the elixir." "A trick, perhaps," another delegate suggested, its floating, jellyfish-like form pulsing with distrust. But the Zaylana women weren't listening. They stepped closer to Daniel, their movements synchronized as if they were drawn to him by some invisible force. One of them, a younger woman with luminous markings on her face, reached out and touched his arm. The moment her fingers brushed his skin, her glowing eyes brightened, and she gasped. "I can feel it," she said, her voice trembling. The connection. It's real. The others nodded in agreement, their whispers growing louder. Daniel could only stare, his mind racing. He hadn't asked for this. He hadn't wanted any of this. But now, he was the center of attention in a way that felt both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Kaveri raised a hand, silencing the whispers. Enough, she commanded. Her gaze softened as she looked at Daniel. This changes everything. What does that even mean? Daniel asked, frustration creeping into his voice. I didn't come here to change everything. I just came to show that humans aren't the barbarians you all think we are. Kaveri's lips twitched into a faint, bittersweet smile. And yet, you have done more in one moment than any of us could have predicted. She gestured to the other Xylana women. The bond they feel with you, it is sacred. It is a link we share only with those who are destined to lead us. Lead you. Daniel blinked, certain he'd misheard. I think you've got the wrong guy. Before Kaveri could respond, the doors to the banquet hall burst open. A group of armored figures stormed in, their weapons glowing with dangerous energy. The crowd of delegates parted as the intruders marched toward Daniel, their leader, a massive insectoid creature with serrated limbs, pointing a weapon directly at him. The human is a threat, the leader declared, its voice like the grinding of metal. He must be taken into custody for the safety of the galaxy. Daniel took an instinctive step back, but the Xylana women moved as one, forming a protective circle around him. Their eyes glowed brighter, their expressions fierce. You will not touch him, Kaveri said, her voice cold as ice. The insectoid leader sneered. You would defend this anomaly. He is an outsider, unworthy of your protection. Kaveri's gaze didn't waver. The Elixir has chosen him. That makes him one of us. The room tensed, the atmosphere crackling with energy. Daniel's glowing hands clenched at his sides. He didn't know what was happening. But one thing was clear. He was no longer just an observer at this summit. He was now at the center of a storm, and the entire galaxy was watching. Alien revelation. The quiet tension in the Xylonian chamber was like the calm before a storm. Daniel stood at the center, the faint golden glow still pulsing from his hands. The Xylana women encircled him, their eyes burning with an intensity that made his skin prickle. Around them, the other delegates from across the galaxy muttered in confusion, disbelief, and, in some cases, fear. Kaveri, the Xylana leader, stepped forward. Her usually serene face was taut, her glowing blue eyes fixed on Daniel, as if seeing him for the first time. Human, she began, her voice echoing through the vast chamber. You must understand the gravity of what has happened here. The elixir of unity is not just a drink. It is a test, a trial designed to uncover the unshakable truth of one's soul. Daniel frowned, his mind racing. What does that even mean? I didn't sign up for any trials. I thought this was just some kind of ceremonial drink. The crowd erupted into murmurs, some laughing bitterly, others shaking their heads. A towering reptilian alien with glowing orange scales stepped forward, pointing a clawed finger at him. Ignorant human, it hissed. Do you have any idea what you've done? That elixir could destroy entire species if mishandled. And yet, it has chosen you. Chosen me for what? Daniel shot back, his voice rising. He was tired of the cryptic answers and the accusatory stares. I didn't ask for this, and I don't even know what's happening to me. Kaveri raised a hand, silencing the growing uproar. The elixir of unity, she said slowly, as if explaining to a child, was created thousands of years ago by my people. It is not a mere beverage. It is alive in its own way, a fragment of a power that predates all known civilizations. It chooses only those who possess extraordinary strength, clarity, and an unbreakable will. She paused, her eyes narrowing. For a non-Xylana to bond with it is unprecedented. It means you are not just worthy. It means you are something more. The murmurs grew louder. Delegates whispered among themselves, their fear and suspicion crackling through the air like static. Daniel could feel the weight of their stares, the mix of disbelief and resentment. A female Zelana from the circle stepped forward. Her silvery skin shimmered as she bowed her head slightly to Daniel. "He is no ordinary outsider," she said softly. "The bond we feel with him is undeniable. It is not a mistake." "Bond?" Daniel asked, his voice tinged with unease. "What bond? I don't feel anything." Kivari's lips twitched, a faint shadow of a smile crossing her face. "You will, in time. The elixir does not simply grant power, it creates a connection. Those of us who are sensitive to its effects, those of us who have lived our lives in service to its legacy, can feel that connection. The 100 Zelana women here now are bound to you. Bound to me." Daniel's mind reeled. "Like some kind of pact." Another Zelana nodded. "Yes, it is ancient, sacred, a link that cannot be undone." The weight of their words pressed down on him. He wasn't sure what was worse, the fact that he was now inexplicably connected to these alien women, or the fact that he had no idea what that connection actually meant. Before he could process the revelation, a low, guttural laugh echoed from the far end of the chamber. A hulking alien with metallic plates covering its body stepped forward, its voice a mix of disdain and amusement. "So this is the great human we've heard so much about. A creature chosen by chance, stumbling through destiny like a blind fool." Daniel tensed, his fists clenching. "You want to try drinking that elixir yourself, big guy?" He shot back, his frustration spilling over. "Let's see how you handle it." The alien sneered, a pathetic challenge from a weakling. "If you truly believe you are worthy, prove it." Kivari raised her voice, cutting through the rising tension. "Enough. The elixir's choice is absolute. There is no need for further tests." The armored alien snarled but stepped back, its glowing red eyes fixed on Daniel with undisguised hatred. Kivari turned back to Daniel, her expression softening. "You must understand," she said quietly. "This is only the beginning. The bond you share with us is not a gift. It is a responsibility. The galaxy will not see it that way. They will see you as a threat, a weapon to be controlled or destroyed." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Great," he muttered. "So not only do I have no idea what's happening, but now everyone wants to kill me." "Fantastic." Kivari didn't laugh. "This is not a joke, human. The power of the elixir is not just physical. It is spiritual, psychological. It will test you, challenge you, and if you fail to control it, it will consume you." "And if I succeed?" Daniel asked, though part of him wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. Kivari's gaze was piercing. "If you succeed, you will become something far greater than you could ever imagine. But first, you must survive." The chamber's doors burst open before Daniel could respond. Armed guards stormed in, their weapons aimed directly at him. The crowd parted as a towering alien in regal armor strode forward, its presence commanding the room. "Seize the human," the figure ordered, its voice cold and sharp. "For the safety of the galaxy, he cannot be allowed to leave this chamber alive." Daniel's heart pounded as the guards closed in. He glanced at Kivari, who stood motionless, her expression unreadable. Then, one by one, the Zelana women stepped between him and the guards, their glowing eyes defiant. "He is one of us," Kivari said firmly, "and we will protect him." The room erupted into chaos. The chase. The metallic echo of armored boots striking the crystal floors reverberated through the grand Zelonian hall. Daniel's heart raced as he found himself cornered by a squad of armed alien guards, their glowing weapons humming with lethal energy. The air was tense, alive with the promise of violence. "Seize him," commanded the regal, insectoid figure that had burst into the chamber moments earlier. Its voice, a grating blend of authority and malice, sent a chill down Daniel's spine. "The human cannot leave this planet alive. He's a danger to us all." Daniel's instincts screamed at him to run, but where could he go? He was surrounded by beings who could likely outthink, outrun, and outgun him in every way. His mind raced, searching for a way out. Before he could act, the Zelana women surrounding him stepped forward as one, forming a protective barrier between him and the guards. Kivari's voice rang out, calm yet commanding. No one will touch him. The Elixir has chosen him, and that makes him one of us. The insectoid commander sneered, its mandibles clicking. You would risk everything for a fragile outsider. He is not one of you. He is a mistake. Without warning, one of the guards lunged, its weapon raised. But before it could strike, one of the Zelana women moved with impossible speed. Her silvery form blurred, and in an instant she had disarmed the guard, sending its weapon clattering to the ground. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates screamed and scattered as the guards opened fire. Bolts of energy streaked through the air, but the Zelana women moved like a synchronized storm, their glowing eyes flashing as they deflected or dodged the attacks. Daniel, caught in the middle, ducked behind a column, his heart pounding in his chest. This can't be happening, he muttered, trying to catch his breath. I didn't sign up for a war. Daniel. Kivari's voice cut through the chaos. She appeared beside him, her usually serene face now etched with urgency. You need to move. Now. I noticed. Daniel snapped, barely avoiding a stray energy bolt. Where am I supposed to go? Kivari grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. Follow me. Before he could argue, she pulled him into a side corridor, away from the battle. The narrow passageway twisted and turned, its glowing walls pulsing like a living organism. Daniel stumbled after her, his legs struggling to keep up. Where are we going? He demanded, his breath ragged. To the escape pods, Kivari replied without looking back. The council won't stop until they have you. You're safer off-planet. Off-planet? Daniel nearly tripped over his own feet. You mean I'm not safe on a world full of armed aliens trying to kill me? Shocking. Kivari shot him a glare over her shoulder. Your sarcasm is noted. Now hurry. As they rounded a corner, the sound of pursuing guards grew louder. Daniel glanced back to see a squad of them closing in, their weapons lighting up the corridor with deadly intent. His newfound energy surged through him again, and for a moment, the glowing hue returned to his hands. He didn't know how to control it, but he wasn't about to stand there and get shot. Get down, he shouted, raising his hands instinctively. The golden pulse of energy erupted from his palms, slamming into the walls and causing the corridor to shake. The pursuing guards were thrown off balance, giving them precious seconds to escape. Kivari stared at him, her expression unreadable. You're stronger than I thought. Great, Daniel panted, his chest heaving. I just wish I knew what I was doing. They reached a large chamber where a sleek Zelonian transport pod was docked. A group of Zelana women stood guard, their glowing eyes scanning the area. One of them, younger and more energetic than the others, approached Kivari with a bow. All is ready, she said, but the guards are closing in fast. Kivari nodded and turned to Daniel. This pod will take you to a neutral zone. From there, we can plan our next move. Daniel hesitated, his mind swirling with questions. Why are you helping me? I didn't ask for this bond, or whatever you keep talking about. Kivari placed a hand on his shoulder, her gaze steady. You may not have asked for it, but the Elixir chose you. That means you are part of something far greater than yourself. Whether you like it or not, you are connected to us now. And we will not let you face this alone. Before Daniel could respond, the sound of weapons fire echoed through the chamber. The guards had caught up. Go, Kivari ordered, pushing him toward the pod. The younger Zelana woman ushered him inside, her expression fierce. As the pod's hatch closed, Daniel caught one last glimpse of Kivari and the others holding the guards at bay. The pod's engines roared to life, and with a sudden jolt, it launched into the sky, leaving Zelon Prime behind. Daniel slumped into a seat, his heart still racing. The golden glow in his hands had faded, but the questions in his mind remained. What had he become? Why had the elixir chosen him? And most importantly, what was he supposed to do now? As the stars stretched into lines outside the pod's viewport, Daniel realized one thing. His quiet life on Earth was gone. Whether he liked it or not, he was now a part of something far bigger and far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. The hidden power. The pod hurtled through the void of space, the faint hum of its engines the only sound in the cramped cabin. Daniel sat hunched in the corner, staring at his hands. The golden glow that had burst from his palms earlier was gone, but he could still feel it. A low, thrumming energy just beneath his skin, like an ember waiting to ignite. Across from him, one of the younger Xylana women, Lyra, he thought she'd said her name, watched him intently. Her glowing blue eyes were unblinking, her expression a mix of curiosity and reverence. "Do you feel it?" she asked suddenly, her voice soft but urgent. Daniel looked up, startled. "Feel what?" "The power of the elixir," Lyra said, leaning closer. "It's alive in you now, human. It's reshaping you, preparing you for what's to come." Daniel frowned. "What does that even mean?" "I don't feel prepared for anything. I feel like I've been thrown into the middle of a war I didn't sign up for." Lyra tilted her head, her silvery hair catching the dim light of the pod. "The elixir doesn't choose randomly. It saw something in you, something even you might not understand yet." Daniel shook his head, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I don't want to understand it. I just want to go back to my normal life." Lyra smiled faintly. "There is no going back. Not anymore." The pod jolted suddenly, snapping Daniel out of his thoughts. The hum of the engines grew louder, and the cabin's lights flickered. "What's happening?" Daniel asked, gripping the armrests of his seat. Lyra's expression darkened as she glanced at the controls. "We're being tracked. They've found us." Before Daniel could ask who they were, the pod's communication system crackled to life. A distorted voice filled the cabin, sharp and cold. "Human, surrender yourself. You cannot outrun us. The power you hold belongs to the galaxy, not to you." Daniel's stomach sank. He didn't need to see their pursuers to know who they were. The insectoid guards from the council chamber must have sent a squad after him. Of course, they weren't going to let him escape so easily. Lyra sprang into action, her fingers flying over the controls. "Hold on," she said, her tone clipped. "This is going to get rough." The pod swerved violently, and Daniel was thrown sideways. Through the viewport, he could see the faint glimmers of pursuing ships, sleek, angular crafts armed with glowing weapons. Beams of energy shot past them, lighting up the darkness of space. "You've got to be kidding me," Daniel shouted, gripping his seat tightly. "I thought this was supposed to be a secret escape route." "They must have tracked the pod's signature," Lyra replied, her voice tense. "They're relentless. They won't stop until they've captured you, or worse." Daniel's pulse quickened. He didn't know what terrified him more: the idea of being caught, or the realization that he might have to fight back. As the pod dipped and weaved through the barrage of energy blasts, Daniel felt the strange power within him stir again. It was faint, like the flicker of a candle in a storm, but it was there. He closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation. The glow returned to his hands, faint at first, but growing stronger. The hum of energy grew louder, vibrating through his body. "What are you doing?" Lyra asked, glancing at him. "I don't know," Daniel admitted, his voice tight. "But I think I can help." Before Lyra could respond, Daniel raised his glowing hands toward the viewport. He didn't know how he knew what to do. It was instinctual, like a memory he didn't remember having. A burst of golden energy erupted from his palms, streaming through the pod's walls and into the space outside. The pursuing ships wavered as the energy rippled toward them. Their glowing weapons sputtered, then went dark. One by one, the ships faltered, their sleek forms spinning helplessly before retreating into the void. Daniel lowered his hands, his chest heaving. The glow faded, but the hum of energy remained, a constant reminder of the power now coursing through him. Lyra stared at him, her expression unreadable. "You don't even know what you just did, do you?" Daniel shook his head. "Not a clue." She leaned back, her gaze never leaving him. "You're stronger than any of us imagined. The elixir didn't just choose you, it amplified you." "What does that mean?" Daniel asked, exhaustion creeping into his voice. Lyra hesitated, as if choosing her words carefully. "It means you're not just a man anymore. You're something more. Something dangerous." The pod's engine stabilized, and the cabin fell silent except for the faint hum of machinery. Daniel slumped back in his seat, his mind spinning. He didn't want to be something more. He didn't want to be dangerous. He just wanted to survive. But deep down, he knew Lyra was right. Whatever the elixir had done to him, it had changed him in ways he couldn't yet understand. And it wasn't just the galaxy that saw him as a threat. He was starting to feel it, too. The final battle. The cold expanse of the asteroid field stretched endlessly before them, jagged rocks spinning slowly in the darkness. Daniel stood at the edge of the Zelana ship's observation deck, staring at the silent void. This was their battleground, a desolate, unforgiving place where no help would come. Behind him, Kivari and a dozen Zelana warriors prepared for the inevitable. Their glowing eyes burned with determination, their movements synchronized and calm. Lyra stood beside him, her silvery features tense as she adjusted a small device on her wrist. "They'll be here soon," she said quietly. Daniel's fingers clenched into fists. The golden energy inside him flickered faintly, but it felt unstable, like a wild animal barely held in check. "How many are coming?" Lyra didn't meet his gaze. "Too many." The ship's lights dimmed as Kaveri approached, her expression unreadable. "They won't stop, Daniel. They've rallied every faction that sees you as a threat. They believe if they destroy you, the power of the elixir will fade." Daniel turned to face her, his voice sharp. "Then why are you still here? Why fight for me? I didn't ask for this bond, and I don't even know how to control this thing inside me." Kaveri's gaze softened, "Because it isn't just about you, human. The elixir chose you for a reason. Whether you see it or not, you've already begun to change things. The galaxy has feared humans for centuries, but now they're watching you, and some are starting to believe in you." "Believe in me?" Daniel laughed bitterly. "I'm just a guy trying not to die." Kaveri's voice grew firm. "You're more than that now. You don't have the luxury of doubting yourself anymore." Before Daniel could respond, the ship's alarms blared. A holographic display lit up, showing a fleet of ships entering the asteroid field. Sleek and deadly, they glided through the darkness like predators closing in on their prey. Lyra's voice was grim. "They found us." Kaveri stepped forward, her voice cutting through the rising tension. "All of you, to your stations. Lyra, prepare the ship's defenses. Daniel." She turned to him, her expression serious. "Stay close to me." Daniel opened his mouth to argue but stopped. He could feel the hum of the elixir's energy growing stronger, as if it were responding to the danger. His skin tingled with its warmth, and for the first time, he realized it wasn't fear he was feeling. It was anticipation. The Zelana ship shuddered as the first wave of enemy fire struck its shields. The asteroid field became a swirling battlefield of energy blasts and spinning debris. Kavari led Daniel to the command center, where a massive viewport provided a clear view of the chaos. "Why don't we just run?" Daniel asked, his voice tense. "They'll hunt us down no matter where we go," Kavari replied. "Our best chance is to stand and fight." Lyra's voice crackled over the comms. "They're trying to flank us. We need to act fast." Kavari turned to Daniel. "This is your moment. The elixir's power isn't just for defense, it's for leading. The Zelana warriors will follow your command, But you need to trust yourself. Daniel stared at her, panic rising. I don't know how to lead an army. Then start by leading yourself, Kuveri said, her voice steady. What does your instinct tell you? Daniel closed his eyes, focusing on the energy inside him. The hum grew louder, more insistent. Images flashed through his mind. Ships moving in perfect formation, shields absorbing fire, weapons striking with precision. It wasn't just power the elixir had given him. It was knowledge. He opened his eyes, a new clarity settling over him. We need to split their fleet, he said, his voice stronger than before. Draw them into the asteroid field where their ships can't maneuver. Use the debris to our advantage. Kuveri nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. As you command. Lyra relayed his orders, and the Zelana ship shifted course, weaving through the asteroids with graceful precision. The enemy fleet followed, their formation breaking as they struggled to navigate the dense field. The battle intensified. Energy blasts lit up the darkness, and the asteroid field became a deadly maze of destruction. Daniel stood at the command console, his hands glowing as he used the elixir's power to shield the ship and guide its movements. But the enemy was relentless. Their flagship, a massive, ominous vessel bristling with weapons, broke through the field, its sights set on Daniel's ship. We can't take a direct hit from that thing, Lyra warned, her voice frantic. Daniel's mind raced. The elixir's energy pulsed through him, urging him to act. He turned to Kuveri. Get the ship clear. I'll handle the flagship. Kuveri's eyes widened. You can't face it alone. I don't have a choice, Daniel said, his voice resolute. I can feel it, Kuveri. This is what the elixir wants me to do. Before anyone could stop him, Daniel stepped into the ship's airlock. The golden energy around him flared brighter than ever, forming a shimmering barrier as the outer door opened. He floated into the void, his body surrounded by a radiant glow. The flagship loomed before him, its weapons charging for a final, devastating strike. Daniel raised his hands, and the energy inside him surged, bursting forth in a blinding wave of light. The flagship's weapons faltered, its systems overloaded by the sheer force of the elixir's power. Daniel pushed harder, his entire body glowing like a star. The flagship cracked and splintered, its massive hull breaking apart in the silence of space. As the enemy fleet scattered in retreat, the Zelana ship returned to pick him up. Daniel collapsed onto the deck, his body trembling with exhaustion. Kuveri knelt beside him, her expression a mix of awe and concern. You did it, she said softly. Daniel managed a weak smile. Yeah. But I don't think this is over. Kuveri nodded. No, this is just the beginning. Daniel closed his eyes, the hum of the elixir's power still faintly echoing in his ears. Whatever came next, he knew one thing for certain. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was something more, something the galaxy would never forget. The legacy. The quiet hum of the Zelana ship felt deafening after the chaos of the battle. Daniel stood in the observation chamber, staring out at the infinite stretch of stars. The faint golden glow still lingered on his hands, a reminder of the power he had unleashed. He wasn't sure if he should feel victorious or terrified. Behind him, Kuveri approached with measured steps, her silvery robes whispering against the polished floor. You saved us, she said softly, her voice carrying an almost reverent tone. The enemy fleet is in disarray. The galaxy will hear of this. Daniel sighed, his shoulders heavy. And what will they hear, Kuveri? That a human became a weapon. That I'm some kind of threat. She stepped beside him, her glowing eyes meeting his. No. They'll hear that you're a force of balance, a reminder that power, even one born of chaos, can bring peace. In the days following the battle, the Zelana ship drifted through neutral space, far from the conflicts of the galaxy. The surviving Zelana women stayed close to Daniel, their connection to him deeper than mere loyalty. Wherever he went, he felt their presence, watchful, protective, and unwavering. One evening, Lyra approached him in the ship's meditation chamber. Her face was serious, her silvery features illuminated by the soft glow of the walls. "You've changed, Daniel," she said simply. "Yeah," he replied, running a hand through his hair. "I'm glowing like a human flashlight and blowing up ships with my mind. I'd say that's a change." Lyra smiled faintly but quickly grew serious again. "It's more than that. The elixir didn't just choose you, it's reshaping you. You're becoming something new." Daniel looked at her, unease creeping into his expression. "And what happens when I'm done changing? What am I supposed to be?" "That's for you to decide," Lyra said quietly. "But the galaxy will look to you now. They'll see you as a leader or a threat. You'll need to choose which one you'll be." The next day, Kivari gathered the remaining Zelana warriors in the ship's central chamber. Daniel stood at the center, his presence commanding despite his unease. The women bowed their heads in unison, a gesture of both respect and recognition. "You are no longer just a man," Kivari said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "You are a symbol, a bridge between our kind and yours, between power and restraint. The elixir has marked you as a leader, and we will follow you." Daniel stared at her, stunned. "Follow me? I don't even know what I'm doing half the time." "That's what makes you human," Kivari replied with a small smile. "And that's why you are what we need." The ship received a transmission a few days later. It was from the Galactic Council, the very body that had tried to destroy him. The holographic figure of a counselor appeared in the command room, its expression wary but composed. "Daniel of Earth," the counselor began, "your actions have sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Many fear you, many admire you, and many want you dead." "Great," Daniel muttered under his breath. "Just what I needed." The counselor continued, "But we cannot deny what you've done. You defeated a fleet that no single force could stop. You protected the Zelana, one of the galaxy's oldest and most respected races, and you did it without seeking power or glory. For this, we extend a reluctant truce." Daniel crossed his arms. "A truce. That's it. You hunted me down like a criminal, and now I'm just supposed to accept a truce." The counselor's expression didn't waver. "The galaxy is watching, human. How you respond now will define your legacy." Later, in the observation chamber, Daniel sat alone, staring at the stars. The weight of his decisions pressed down on him like 1,000 worlds. He didn't ask for any of this, for the elixir, for the bond with the Zelana, for the battles that followed. But here he was, holding the galaxy's attention in the palm of his glowing hand. Kivari joined him, her presence calm and steady. "What troubles you?" He gestured to the viewport. "All of it. I didn't ask for this power. I didn't ask for this responsibility. I just wanted to survive." Kivari tilted her head, her glowing eyes thoughtful. "The greatest leaders are often those who never wanted the role. But you're here now, Daniel. And whether you like it or not, you've become a part of something far greater than yourself." Daniel sighed, leaning back in his chair. "And if I fail?" "Then you'll learn," Kivari said simply. "And we'll stand beside you." As the Zelana ship prepared to return to their homeworld, Daniel made his decision. He would meet with the Galactic Council, not as a subordinate, but as an equal. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing: he wouldn't run from it. The elixir's power hummed faintly within him, a reminder of the journey that had brought him here. He didn't know if he could live up to the expectations placed on him, but he wasn't going to let fear decide his path. The stars outside the viewport glittered like scattered jewels, endless and full of possibility. Daniel took a deep breath, the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders, and a faint, determined glow in his hands. This was his legacy, and he would make it his own.